Hey, good to see you. I just got back. I was on tour in Atlantic Canada, on the East Coast there. Met some amazing people, had a wonderful time. And I was on the flight coming back, and I was thinking about something. I was thinking about two things, actually. I was thinking about trust and faith. Now, not in the religious sense, but trust. What is it that makes us trust someone? And what is it that makes us trust ourselves? What is it that allows us to have faith in someone or something, or for that matter, faith in ourselves? And I wanted to put that to you. I wanted to hear what you thought, what it is that elicits that in you. Now, I know that you could probably come up with a million examples of places where you might have trusted somebody and they didn't really deserve it. But here's my thoughts. I wonder how many times you didn't trust someone. How many times you maybe they gave you an impression, they came across in a certain way and you didn't trust them, and then you found out later that they were incredibly trustworthy and you could have a ton of faith in them. Maybe you didn't have faith in them at first and then that turned around. I'm really interested, what is it that evokes faith and trust in you? While I was away, something really amazing happened, and it will tie to this and you'll see. I used to live in New Brunswick. Yes, I lived in East Coast Canada as many as 37 years ago when I was a young pup. And I moved there, and there was a guy that I met from that area who was incredibly kind to me, and I got to meet with him. I got to go back this time, and we got to have this brief dinner, and we got to chat. And I told him I wanted to meet with him because I wanted him to know how grateful I was for him embracing me and welcoming me. He had no reason to trust me. I was definitely the oddball. I was definitely in a strange place. You know, this was not my country. I sounded weird. I looked very different than the people who were living in Moncton, New Brunswick at that time. And he totally took me in and made me feel like I had a friend and was awesome. But something really cool happened. We were having dinner and I was telling him this. And he said, well, do you know why I wanted to meet with you? And I said, just to catch up. And he said, no, I wanted you to know that you were one of the most influential people in my life. And I got to tell you, I was like surprised. I had no idea. And I said, why? And he said, well, what you do, you know, in the leadership and personal growth and understanding the mind, he goes, you were always talking about that. And I hadn't even remembered that was, you know, the focus of my life back then, and I certainly didn't imagine that I was talking about those things. And he told me how I had talked about those things and talked about the mind, and I'd inspired him, and that he was actually, he asked me if I remembered what he was like, and I do remember incredibly what he was like. He was this very shy, he was tall, he was thin, he was a bit sort of awkward in his own skin, and he was just a lovely, warm person, and I really enjoyed him. And he said, yeah, and do you remember that you dragged me out of the closet? That I was the guy who dragged him to parties and introduced him to people as a young 21-year-old guy. And I took him out and was social with him. And I was totally open with him. I felt good around him. And I introduced him to a bunch of people who he tells me are now lifelong friends. And he said that I was the one who helped him completely come out of the closet as a gay man, because I was a straight guy and I had no problem with the fact that he was gay. He went on to tell me that because of that strength that he had gained and that self-belief, that faith that he had in himself as a person and his own authentic being, that he'd gone on to become the first gay man in Canada to legally adopt. And he has two spectacular boys, two sons who he tells me are very well-dressed heterosexual males, and he just clearly has a great relationship with them. And I just was so, and when he told me all this, I got to tell you, I was so choked up. I was like totally emotional. It was so moving because he had faith in me and I had faith in him, and neither of us had any particular reason to have faith in each other. Neither of us had any real reason to trust each other, but we did. And we both had a powerful effect on each other. So let me ask you, I wonder whose life you have touched and you don't even know it. Like, I had no idea. I wonder whose life you shifted, made a bit better. And I wonder who did that for you. Who touched your life and maybe they don't know. Maybe it was years ago. Maybe it was a seminar leader, a teacher. Maybe it was a person who wrote a book. Maybe it was a person who came to your town and you met them briefly. Maybe it was somebody you met at a party. Maybe it was somebody you met in a conversation. Maybe it was somebody you met in a coffee shop. Maybe it was a friend from childhood. Somebody who changed your life, impacted you in a way that you just never got to express that. This wonderful thing about social media. It allowed André, Michel, Richard and I to reconnect after all these years. So please, share with me what it is that evokes trust in you. What is it that gives you faith in someone and even in yourself? And share with me somebody who touched your life, shifted you, and they may not even know that they had that level of impact on you. I look forward to seeing your comments and your feedback. And if you want, you can make a little short video and even tell me. That'd be very cool. All right. Great seeing you. Until next time, stay curious, my friend. Stay curious.